want to welcome you to a very special episode where we're going to be talking about one of the most powerful events that happened this year. The Ultimate Freedom Live 2025 was explosive, and I thought it would be a great opportunity to just kind of recap what the experience was like, how it was designed, and the type of impact that was created. Today I have with me the mistress of ceremonies of the Ultimate Freedom Live, but also one of our great leaders here at URCO. I want to welcome Charlene Robinson. How are you?
I'm excellent.
Well, this time you're on the stage. You're normally behind the scenes when I'm doing these YouTube episodes, helping to strategize and coordinate and do all kinds of things. But how does it feel to be in the chair?
It's definitely different.
It's different? Absolutely.
I'm on the other end of when I'm talking to people. It's like, okay, I'm experiencing what they experience.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, it's great to have you here. And I just want to take a minute to just really appreciate everything that happened at Ultimate Freedom Live. We're just going to kind of unpack and maybe we'll kind of work together. I might ask you some questions. You might ask me some questions. We'll just kind of work together. I want to start off asking you a question is, what is it like being mistress of ceremonies at Ultimate Freedom Live? I mean, it's really a special event, and with any event, the energy has to be right. If people don't have the right mindset, they won't get the most out of it. So what are you thinking about when you're, approaching kind of taking on this responsibility of mistress of ceremonies?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and thank you for allowing me to be here and share the stage with you. But yeah, it's really special. There's an experience that you've worked really hard to create for those that are attending, and so you want to create the environment where they're ready to learn, that they are understand how to focus and really lock in on what's important, because they're there for transformation. They're there to get something that's going to change the trajectory of their life. And so it's so important to I try to take care of myself and prepare so that I'm ready to, bring the energy for them, because they're coming, with energy too. So it's special.
It is. And I think too, if your energy isn't in the right place, no matter what someone tells you, you won't receive it the same. And although I know you're trying many times to get the audience in the right frame of mind to benefit from all that's about to happen, what you're asking them to do, you kind of have to do it first, right? Because you have to think from all your work and life and things you're dealing with, you have to transform and get your energy to a place where you can actually do what is required. So sometimes do you feel like you're telling them something that you're actually doing as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Because, I can't just come on the stage and I'm not in the right mindset. I don't have the right energy. I haven't been getting myself prepared. And then ask them to do it. It's like, okay, but your energy's low and you're not interested in, in being here. So there's a lot of work that goes in before, because I'm doing it. I'm not telling them something I haven't done.
Yeah.
I'm in the trenches with them. It's like we're doing it together.
Yeah.
So there's some prep work for sure on my end.
No, absolutely. I think what will be really good for this episode, this is kind of a unique episode. We don't do this all the time, but maybe you facilitated the agenda, and I know you have access to it. You can look it up, probably pull it up on your phone or something. But maybe you can kind of take us through what happened at the event, and you might have some questions for me about the days, and we'll just kind of work together. And I might jump in and say, well, what about this? Or what do you think about that?
Okay.
But let's work together. Maybe you kind of
can be. I love it. That's what we do.
Yeah, you be hosting events and stuff. You might host the show a little bit. So we'll just kind of work together. Yeah. We'll work together.
Yeah, we'll work together. But I do actually have a few questions, because this was a 3-day live experience, and it was very strategic. There was a lot of thought that was put into this. There was a lot of back work that you were doing for months to provide the experience that, our participants showed up and received. And so I'm curious to kind of give people a little bit of insight to why you may have structured the agenda the way that you did. Some of the speakers that you selected, why them? So I'm a little bit curious, just maybe if it's okay, maybe just with day one, maybe share a little bit about why you structured day one to focus so heavily on life leadership, and why is that important?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll say this first and foremost, just taking a step back to the whole Ultimate Freedom Live event, is that when I'm really thinking about our events like this that are so big and impactful, I think about the people around me that I care about, people that I look at their struggles, I look at what they're dealing with, I look at the things holding them back. I look at people in my programs and in our community that I'm seeing the things that are in their way. And I'm thinking about, how can I design something that provides value for everyone, but also meets the real needs of things that I see every day that gets in people's way. And so I think when I think about designing the agendas of the whole Ultimate Freedom Live, it's about value alignment. How can we create value that aligns so that it creates a vision? So going from value to vision, where we're given something of value that can impact you, but as you stay in the event, it begins to create a vision. So speaking of day one, the vision of day one, the reason life leadership is so important is because this is one of those levers that I think we have to pull to get to what I call the ultimate freedom. And we have to, it's not professional leadership. It's not leadership that you would see on a sports team. It's life leadership, which is my ability to lead things pertaining to my life. So if you don't learn how to exercise leadership about your life, you'll find that in the end, life will catch up with you, right? Because you weren't intentional about the life you wanted, then life will shape itself. And so this is why I think day one is such an important foundation, because we're challenging those that attended to think about things that they're dealing with every day that they have to take leadership of.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the thought around life leadership and just the overall structure of the event.
Yeah, and I think that's incredible because most people talk about career leadership, professional leadership, leadership as a business owner, but oftentimes leading our life so that we can actually enjoy it gets overlooked.
Yeah.
And I think, as you mentioned earlier about just how you structured the overall event, you have a lot of experience with the struggles that people have in this area. I mean, decades of experience. Like, this just wasn't something you thought about yesterday, right? You have all this wealth of experience. And so to start from the care perspective, like really caring that people are able to make real changes in their life that are sustainable, is so important. It sounds like it's a big driver of even why you said, well, let's take a step back. Before you can get these other things, you got to really deal with your life. That is really the core before you can really build upon that. Is it important for people to understand that's kind of almost like sounds like maybe a starting point? Can you talk a little bit about that too?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a starting point, because if I can't lead me, how can I lead anything, right? Because I'm with myself every day. So life leadership is the foundation. It is the starting point. And one of the things that I think is so important, the reason that we even do Ultimate Freedom Live, events are a lot of work, and you have to spend so much time telling people about it. People normally at the last minute sign up. You don't know, you've put all this expense out there. You're trying to get all these people here. You're coordinating things with speakers, trying to bring them the best. But people a lot of times drag their feet. They'll wait to the last minute, or they're always the one to say, I wish I did this or that. And that's going to happen, but you still have to encourage yourself, because the whole point of an event is to create an immersive environment. When you're in an environment, it allows you to actually create a shift. That's why the military takes you out of your environment and sends you to boot camp. That's why if you want to become a doctor, there's certain things you have to do to come into that environment before you can become a full-fledged doctor. Everything that you can think of that requires real transformation has something to do with environment.
Yeah.
So even, I'm thankful so many people were able to virtually attend, but being in the room it should be the highest importance, and no distraction. You're immersed. Get out of your situation. Get into a new environment. So life leadership is essential, and we want to create an environment. And really, that's why, too, there was so much talk about health as well, because with life leadership, there's so many things in our life: relationships, money, so many things that we're doing with, different elements of our mindset. But health is such a central piece that we need to have leadership,
Right.
because if we don't, we won't have the energy to do anything we want to do.
Right.
So that's why when designing that day, there was a lot of health mingled in.
Yeah, and to that, just when you think about holistically people being well, like that life side of it, you mentioned about environment, because there were speakers that talked about mindset and environment. They talked about health, things about, there were different, I can't tell it all. I don't want to tell all
Right.
the details of it, but just the importance of understanding the wellness of our bodies so that we can, we're trying to get to ultimate freedom.
Yeah.
Right. So we have to be well. So you did talk a lot, some of the speakers were structured in a way where a lot of things about health and caring for their body, their wellness, their mindset. Can you go into a little bit more about just even health, but even the mindset, because sometimes we don't maybe value health the way that we should.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think, mindset is the seat of authority in your life. And we have
Wow.
to think about what mindset that we have. And when you think about mind and set, mind is a decision I make to continually dwell on something. And when we say set, it's shown that I'm set in that frame of mind. So the mind frame that you're settled into is going to really govern what you really do in life, what you really accomplish, because everything begins with thought and belief. And and so that's why in the event I wanted to bring in some speakers that would deal with things like
Right.
mindset and being anti-fragile, not having a fragile mindset. How do we be anti-fragile? How do we develop confidence? How do we do one of the scariest things in the world is speak to people, be
Yes.
able to communicate. So coupled with health was a lot of mindset things, because I found that the biggest mistake people make is they put information in their brain, but they don't learn how to control their mind. And the brain is different than the mind. The brain is, you get 70,000 thoughts a day. We all have that. But the mind you have is, which one of those thoughts do you grab and choose to focus on and use it as a North Star, a compass that decides where you go. And so that is why, and I think
like
this is
that.
really good. What we're doing is kind of talking about why the things in these days were important.
Right.
And maybe we can just tell everyone like maybe who spoke and the titles they spoke, but I don't think we need to go into each of the sessions, because there's going to be ways for people who want to know more maybe that
Right.
they could get to that. But I like that we're kind of talking about an overview of why the things in that day was important.
Yeah.
And maybe when you're ready, we could just tell them like who spoke and what they spoke about and leave it there, right? Because
Yes.
you had to be there, right?
You had to be there, yes,
But
yes.
this is why those things were so important, and the things that were discussed on these days, just even in the health arena, for example, was just so mind-blowing to get so many credible people with credible information,
Right.
that could just change the way you thought things were supposed to be.
Right, right.
And what's so challenging about life leadership and health mindset, these things, is the way life is the one thing we all think we're experts on, and we're really the most ignorant about,
Right.
Because life is big. There's
Yeah.
so much involved in life. But because life is life, we all think we're expert because we all live life.
Yeah.
But you start to find out when you put yourself in the right rooms, you're living a life that you really find in many ways you know nothing about. And we have to learn how to live.
That was profound. And I think that's why it's so important that you always say you need to get in the right rooms, because you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And an event like this is so important because it exposes the truth of the things that you need to know, that you realize like, oh, to your point, like
Yeah.
I don't really know like I thought I I did.
Yeah.
I didn't know the levels of health.
Yeah.
It's not just maybe eating right or like taking a walk. Like there's so much more that's deeper into health, and it's not mindset like think a happy thought.
Right.
Like, oh no, it's way deeper than that.
Yeah.
And to be in the right rooms, it helps us to see that there's another layer that we can go to, a deeper level of understanding that, we could go to.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally
So-
agree.
So maybe I will jump to maybe share some of those speakers that
Yeah.
were here, kind of
Yeah.
give a little sneak peek. But again, you had to be there.
Yeah.
So I will share a little bit here. So we heard from Chris Dennison. He talked about building your own healthcare system. He talked about discovering. I don't know if I should give too many
No, wait.
details.
Hold on. No, wait. You skipped me. You skipped me.
Rewind it. Let's rewind it.
let's
Let's rewind it.
that.
Hold on. We're rewinding it.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we
Yeah.
are rewinding. So listen, we kicked off the day. Before we even got started, I hit the stage with the energy.
Yes.
So we brought the energy. And I'll say this too, the crowd that was there online, but in the room as well, the speakers couldn't rave enough about the crowd because they really did come with their A game. They
Yeah.
showed up and the things that you went over, you got up after I did and you went into the power of energy.
Mm-hmm.
And you talked about longevity and energy and clarity, and just that energy is your number one business advantage. And they took that to heart. They really did. And they stayed locked in for the next 3 days. I don't know if you want me to keep going or if you want to touch a little bit on that
I'll
first.
just say real quick before you run through kind of the agenda and all the
Yeah.
wonderful speakers we had is that the reason I wanted to start off talking about the power of energy is because, if you don't get your energy in the right place, then I know the rest of the event won't matter, right? So just really going deep into different aspects of things. Not, some people talk about energy and chi and all kinds of, it almost gets mystical, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about something very real that we all have and that we all give off. And then also understanding how these things relate to how we listen, how we learn, what we're able to understand. And so I went through a whole talk there that brought in a lot of things to kind of set the stage for the event. And I think it's important for people to appreciate when you're building something, the foundation is most important. If the foundation is small, the building you build has to be small. If it's very big, you can build something bigger. So in the beginning, I wanted to lay a strong foundation so that we could build something big.
And that's exactly what happened. Something big was built. And I think everyone, they were locked in, really listening, and they took what you said to heart. You could see it. You could see by their engagement. You could see by the ahas that they got throughout the event. The speakers felt it because the crowd believed it. And when the speakers hit the stage, they felt that energy from, you laying such a wide foundation for each speaker to really build on.
Yeah.
So I think that's an incredible kind of just the vision of even the foundation to a successful event.
Yeah.
So next Chris Dennison hit the stage. He talked about building your own healthcare system. Dr. Grace Liu, PharmD, she talked about the secret to longevity.
Yeah.
That's a big thing right now, right? There's all sorts of things happening around that topic. Ashley Koff, she's a registered dietitian. She got up and talked about GLP-1, medicated to lose weight. Again, another hot topic. We also heard from Dr. Andrew Neville, and he shared so much on you're not sleeping and here's why. Those things around just the health and your body, your wellness. Can you say a little bit about why these speakers and the topics that were chosen? Say a little bit about why.
Well, just real quickly, UR CEO is all about us being empowered to be the CEO of our lives and thinking about how you can build your own healthcare system, right? Instead of waiting on the reactive healthcare system that designed there's a system designed to make you sick and then make money off you trying to get better. So the whole mentality of your own healthcare system had to be in this event, how to think, preemptively and get in front of things.
Right.
And then thinking about, all of the longevity things that are being discussed. Everyone wants to live longer, right? We want to get more out of our life. So talking about how we could also get some truth about what things are actually contributing to longevity. And the same thing with GLP-1 and people taking medicines to lose weight. Some of those things, if you don't have the right information, can really hurt you. And then there's other ways it could be productive.
Right. So
what's the truth about all of this? We want to bring in someone highly qualified to talk about this thing that's going on. Sometimes could be good and sometimes could be bad. And then talking about sleep, I mean, that was almost a personal confession to try to bring someone to help me out as well.
Yes.
But sleep is just something that is so crucial, and so many of us struggle with it, including me. We need that restorative moment that God put in his creation to help all of us restore and get the most out of our body. And so I was so happy that the individual came that we had brought, because he was highly qualified and just did an outstanding job.
Yes.
And so that's just a little bit about some of the areas you mentioned. Yeah.
And I think it's important that people know, as you mentioned, as an entrepreneur for over 2 decades, moving into towards the 3rd decade, you know about health and about how we push our bodies and the importance of, caring for our bodies. And so you can see, back to what you said when we, first opened up, the struggles, you've been there. So you're bringing the right people in the room that can really help people with their health. And so I really love that. And that was just before lunch.
Right.
All this was just before lunch. So maybe I'll share a little bit on the agenda that happened after lunch. So, and this is, again, still day 1. We heard from David Hesterly. He talked about mandatory movement for busy leaders, because it wasn't, just entrepreneurs in the room. There were also professionals that were in the room that are, they're thinking about, do I want to start a business, or I have a side gig? And so there were also professionals and entrepreneurs here. Ashley Cobb, again, she came back and talked about the food operating system. And she had an awesome live Q&A session with the audience that was here in the room.
Yeah.
And that was phenomenal. That was absolutely phenomenal. And then we heard from Terry Fulton, who's one of your executives in URCO, does a lot of coaching, a lot of mentoring, and so a lot of program design. And he talked about from burnout to breakthrough, and just, as you mentioned earlier, about mental fitness and the anti-fragile mindset. And as you said earlier, mindset is so important. If you don't have the right mindset, you just won't do it. You
Right.
just, you won't even think you can do it. And then we heard from Barbara Chris, and she talked about confidence unleashed, and how to really unleash that internal strength that helps you to overcome the day-to-day obstacles that everyone is facing. Just as you mentioned earlier, life.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in life, we think we know life, but a lot of times there's a deeper layer to understanding, like, well, what does that really mean? And
Right.
she went into talking about confidence being unleashed. And then we heard from Anthony Trucks, and he talked about followers seek and leaders speak.
Yeah.
And so he talked a lot about how to overcome fear when speaking, understanding your identity. And he had some unique things that are proprietary just to him that he shared, as well as, the others. They shared some really special things that, if you were here, then you heard it. So can you talk a little bit about the transition into that latter part of day 1?
Yeah, well, I think we, like you said, after lunch, just closing out the importance of, movement. And, I love the things that we talked about that were so practical, and just changing our perspective on, being a bodybuilder or trying to do something aggressive all the time, to what is really needed for us as busy people to make sure we do at a minimum to really be healthy.
Right.
So I thought with some wonderful things covered there, and by David Hesterly, as you mentioned, and then Ashley Koff coming back, getting into food, nutrition,
Oh,
and
yes.
so many questions that she asked that were from all over the place. And she is so hilarious and yet so impactful and
Yeah.
substantive. And so I thought she just did a wonderful job. And then I wanted to kind of make sure we switched gears and got into some of the mindset stuff because, as I mentioned earlier, it's so important. So Terry Fulton just hit a home run,
Yes,
really dealing
yes.
with the anti-fragile mindset, not being a fragile individual in your mind, which led right into confidence. And Barbara Chris, who has such just a powerful story, and I love the way she shared things about her story that I think inspired everyone in the room, the things that she was
Absolutely.
able to do in her life, but then how to translate that into a framework that teaches us about what confidence is
Right.
and how confidence is a skill that can be developed, a muscle that can be strengthened. And then, what can I say about Anthony Trucks? I mean, he's become such a wonderful business partner and friend. And I thought the things he shared was just so wonderful. And he's been speaking for so long, he could come and just go from his heart
Yes.
and really begin to give all kind of frameworks that can help transform. And so he was dealing with something that, people fear right up there next to dying itself is speaking. And not just like speaking from the stage, but just being able to speak at all, communicate what's in you. And so I thought he did a wonderful, wonderful job. So I thought that gave just a real well-rounded day one.
Yes.
And everything went as planned.
It did. It was absolutely phenomenal. And to your point, every speaker just hit a home run. And what I love, something that you mentioned, is that they left you with a framework, something actionable that you could actually go and do. And you can say, okay, I see myself, I can see the gap, and I see where I need to be. And I can use that framework that each of those speakers left behind to actually go and do something about it, like make a change. And so I just think they were all absolutely phenomenal. Kicked off an amazing day one. And so incredible. So maybe you want to go into day two to think about? Okay. All right. So this was incredible. I mean, it was 3 days. It was completely immersive. And so day two, you built day two around business systems. And I want to know, what does that mean to you? And why is business systems important? And then maybe if you want, I can go into the speakers after that, but maybe talk about why business systems is so important for the audience to hear that on day two.
Well, I think being in business, for 25 years plus, I've learned that if you want to create freedom in your life, it's going to come through business. Even some of the people who make some of the greatest investments, Grant Cardone, Robert Kiyosaki, Warren Buffett, any of these individuals still make money through business. So you need money through business and then learn how to use it in real estate. And it becomes this cycle of things that can actually lead to true wealth and freedom. So business is just a cornerstone of anything you're going to do to create true freedom, whether you're even in stock, if you're buying stock, you're buying into someone's business. So you're still business is going to touch your life some way. But the key is, the reason I go deeper into business systems is because we need to understand the systems that govern business, because there's a lot of people who start businesses and some of them are stressed out and broke. A lot of them don't have freedom at all. They didn't create a business, they created a job, but they think it's a business. So the systems in business is really the secret. The reason there are any businesses that we can invest in is because businesses created systems that have a reliable, standard way of generating income, controlling expense, and creating profit. So I found out very quickly the difference between an entrepreneur that solves problems and a CEO who puts systems in place, and those systems run the business. So anything we do in business must be systemized. And my background in lean and going to Japan and working at Toyota, was just a perfect place for me to cultivate a lot of wisdom and expertise that now I found to be so true many years later, that it still comes down to that. So we don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems, because we might think we're going to go to these great goals, but you're going to end up you're going to end up being at the strength of where your systems are. Even though you want to go do all these things,
Wow.
you're going to keep falling to where your systems are. So this is why I felt it was so important. This is one of the levers that I see in our framework as you are a CEO that'll be most responsible to get you to freedom. And so that's why systems and business systems had to be in this event.
Wow, that's really powerful. It's almost the hidden foundation that people often overlook.
Yeah.
They just see the logo and I got a business and my name and my business card and here's my address and I do these services.
Yep.
And that's good. It's that'll be good for the first 90 days.
Yeah.
And you
90
need those
minutes
things, the
sometimes.
first 90 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And you need those things. But if you're looking for to creating wealth, actually generating money, the systems often overlooked. And so
Money and freedom.
money and freedom.
Because some people are generating good money in business, but because of their systems, they have no freedom.
And that's powerful because you created the business thinking,
Yeah.
I'm going to have freedom, to spend time with my family, freedom to take them on vacation or give them the things that they enjoy,
Right.
things that I enjoy. And then really to your point, you're so stressed and you're overwhelmed, but it's because the systems, they're not there
Yeah,
to
and
provide
there's no
that.
one to blame. When you were working for someone else, you could blame them.
Right.
But now you created the prison. You
Yes.
created it. Yeah.
Oh, and so we're trying to get people out the prison.
Yes.
So this is incredible. So maybe I can dive into the speakers for day 2. We could talk a
Yeah.
little bit about that. All right. So you came in and you kicked us off. Day 2, you came out the gate talking about from chaos to control.
Yes.
And you covered your business freedom blueprint, proprietary blueprint that you use to help a lot of people in your program. Then we had 2 more of your executive leaders, Marcus Smith and Chris Bateson, and they talked about AI as your coworker. And they talked about agents and automations. And they even did a live demo.
Yeah.
The crowd went crazy over the live demo. It wasn't like a 60-second demo. It was a real, they tested it. And so then we heard from Zach Hesterberg. He talked about from traffic to treasure. And he's just an expert in helping people create traffic using ads and hosting live, virtual events. We heard from David Simons. He talked about webinar wealth and the powerful things that you can do to get really success in webinars. And that was just before lunch.
Yeah.
That was just before lunch. Did you want to break in a little bit before lunch, or do you want me to?
Well, I just think,
Because that lineup.
I think starting off, I wanted to get a little bit into chaos versus control because there's too many people in business today, especially entrepreneurs, that are working in chaos. And the reality is they don't realize it because chaos needs to be defined. And I went over 4 types of chaos, and then I went into 4 types of control. I also spent some time just talking about the eras, 7 different eras that I defined, that to understand, you need to know how the world is changing. And if you're not aligned with the era that you're in terms of the type of business or how you're trying to do business, you're going to struggle to make money. You're going to struggle to be successful. And then really beginning to show the framework that I've used to build 7-figure businesses, and give you the kind of the approach and the systems that are most important. Right. So I wanted to do that to kind of kickstart this day on business systems, and then going into artificial intelligence. I thought Marcus and Chris did such a wonderful job because AI is here. It's not coming, it's here.
Yes.
And if you don't know how to incorporate this into what you do, incorporate this into your business, you're going to get left behind. So I wanted to make sure we incorporated that. And then both Zach and David, just what they bring to the table in their experience of how to make money online. And I want people to not only hear the frameworks and the strategies and the tools, but to hear the stories and the testimonials, because some people don't understand the type of money being made out here, right? In these streets, as some would say, right? Everyone's seeing what's on TV, and they're seeing all the big companies and their logos, and they don't know that everyday people is making 6 figures in a day,
Every
7 figures
day.
in a day by knowing certain things and how to do it online. So I wanted to bring that to this community and things that I talk about and teach all the time, but to let them hear it from some qualified people
Right.
other than me, to show them like this is real, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
and these are some people that were qualified to speak on it. So I thought it was really great, and it gave us a good kickoff, before lunch to really
Absolutely.
show what was possible and to also inspire individuals to get out of their seat and get moving, because there's a
Yes.
lot of money out here for everybody.
Absolutely. And I love that. And it's exposing people to something that's very common that's happening, and being able to see, oh, wow, I can actually do that with my business. Or I can make those changes.
Yeah.
I can move from chaos
Yeah.
and get some clarity, and then get some real strategies and tips on how to make money, And I think that's why everyone's here too. You
Yeah.
need the money to help you get to the freedom.
Yeah.
And so they were amazing. And I think it created a lot of chatter during lunch as well. That's Clean Kitchen, one of the companies that you created to help people really have healthy choices in eating, catered the
Yep.
3-day experience.
Yes, yes.
And so right here inside of the Freedom Center, they got to sit and eat and connect and network amongst themselves here in the room. And got to enjoy some delicious food as well.
Yes, yes, yes.
But, a lot of conversation was happening between lunch. And so I think that's kind of another little experience that people maybe who are joining virtually weren't able to be a part of. But when
Yeah.
you're here in the room, you actually can have that connection and talk about the things you're hearing
Yeah.
and learning. And so,
And I think too, just real quick,
Yeah.
I think, practicing what we preach, we started a company that really is trying to provide clean food experiences. And I thought they did an outstanding job. I
Absolutely.
mean, all the food was so good and great. And I think everybody got a good taste. And then we had the green room with the speakers and stuff.
Yes.
And, we was having our own kind of thing going on in the back room and eating and talking and just fellowshipping about things.
Right.
And I got to say something about our URCO music during this event.
oh
right?
my goodness, can we talk about that,
I
please?
mean, we got 2 new songs that we really released out at this event. And, I thought the songs were so impactful in terms of the message of URCO. It's not just about the beat and the tune, which is just powerful, but it's the words, it's the message, it's what it's communicating. And I think if you were at the event, maybe online probably as well, but especially if you was here on site, you almost know that song by heart, because we was playing these 2 songs over and over and over. And funny story is that I go into the green room and we got people back there full blown dancing.
Yes.
I'm saying, what is going on back here? And so we had to bring them out of party mode and get them focused on coming in here to
Yes.
deliver value.
Yes.
But it was very impactful. And I just think the environment of being here was so special.
It was. And to, for everyone to just enjoy that song and feel the message and the words, it touched people.
Yeah.
I mean, it really did. I mean, people were dancing, singing it, and just enjoying the message, because it's like you said, it's the words, and you're like, oh yeah, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
like that is me. I am like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna charge, expand, overcome.
Yeah.
You're hearing it over. And then you start to be inspired by it, and then you start to believe it.
Yeah.
And then you see like, oh, it's me.
Yeah.
Like
absolutely.
I'm the song.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So it did create a great green room experience, and just the green room in general with all the speakers
Yeah.
was incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
just such a top-notch experience.
Absolutely.
And all the speakers raved. I mean, they were just impressed with just the level of service and care for them, being here, and them knowing that we valued them being here. Like,
Yeah.
it was important that they were here,
Yeah.
for the attendees. And so, all right, so maybe we've kind of gone through lunch, we've gotten through the URCO music. If you haven't heard it, we have some links, I think, on our YouTube channel, right?
They're launched on our YouTube channel now.
Yeah, they're launched on our YouTube channel, URCO on YouTube. So yeah, you all can check it out there. And I recommend that you do. All right, so we came back from lunch. And let's talk a little bit about after lunch. So we heard from Kat Coley. She talked about storytelling, the secret weapon. And she has a powerful, powerful, very unexpected story that I think kind of shook the room.
Yes, yes.
I think the room was shook hearing her story. But then, what she exposed to them about storytelling was incredible.
Yeah.
We heard from Dr. Kawana Irving. She talked about stop leaving money on the table and really how to tap into, making millions of dollars, which she's done with, people in her program and herself, accessing government contracts. Powerful speaker.
Yeah.
I think everyone said, I'm leaving money on the table.
Yeah,
I think she really opened their minds up to things that the gap again, because you want to clearly see where you are, the gap, and how to get to where you want to be. She did a phenomenal job. Then we heard from two more leaders from your team, Alila Smith and Megan Tomasello. They had a surprise activity, and I can't believe they got the whole audience completely involved. I can't tell the details of it, but they were just having a blast. I mean, a pure blast.
Yeah.
And the energy in the room was it was wild. And we transitioned there, again, two more of your leaders on your team, LaShawna Jackson, Jalil Stewart, and Jalil Stewart. They talked about the Ultimate Freedom Awards. So they actually did some spotlights giving awards to people that are in your programs currently.
Yeah.
And that was amazing. I mean, the things that, I'm happy to be able to see the journey from where they were to now. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And I think the audience got to see that and feel that, and to see the tangibleness of it through those Freedom Awards. And then you came in and you closed us out talking about striving for the ultimate freedom. So, it was a power-packed second day.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about why you made that transition and, why it was important for you to do that?
Yeah, I just think the second half of the day, Kat Coley, she has some things in her story that you just had to be there. You literally would have to just, your mouth would drop open as she starts to explain things that she's been through, and also how it correlates to taking what you've been through and doing something with it that's transformative.
Right.
And so I just thought, that was outstanding. And Kawana is just a giant in her field. And I think she opened up everyone's mind about possibilities that they didn't know was there.
Right.
And the billions of dollars that is available out there simply by knowing what to do to get it.
Right.
That can stabilize your business, and opportunities that people didn't know were possible. So I thought that was so, encouraging, just to see everyone so moved by the possibilities and the stories and the testimonials of people who have achieved certain things financially through the government. And then everything we did with, all of the awards, I just think it's so critical to let people see results, people who are really taking action, people who are really, going through transformation. We're not just up here, doing all this stuff, but there's people that are really taking action, investing in themselves, getting results. And so I just thought it was, so heartwarming to see us get a chance to say thank you, to so many for investing in themselves through us, but ultimately to see the results they're getting for themselves. So anyway, I just thought that was an outstanding moment, and he then gave me a chance to kind of bring everything together and let everyone know that there's more where that came from.
Right. And I think people need to see, like you said, the results. Like, wow, I'm thinking about this. I know I need to make some changes. And then you're seeing people actually benefiting from the program and actually getting the results that they wanted that, when they first started the program, they didn't even know that they could achieve. And now to see the big leap, of where they are now successful business. Some of them were just kickstarting their business, and now it's grown. So I think it's amazing to see them, because you're with them, for a period of time, and you're just watching them grow and going through the growing pains and learning and doing, right? They're actually doing the work.
Yeah.
And then you see them on the stage and you're like, wow, it has to really make you feel good to know that you're a part of that,
It does. And I think, I put a lot into the things that we do and that we give, and I'm always trying to get better. I don't think our programs are perfect, but I do think they're striving for it, and we're trying to get better all the time. And we can tell you what to do and how to do it, but helping people actually take action on the right thing. You got those who won't take action, even though they invest a lot of money and time. They won't fully take action like they should. And then you got some will take action, but they don't keep asking questions along the way to get the clarity. They're movers, and so they move, but they don't realize what they think they know. They don't quite know it. You learned enough to be dangerous.
Yeah.
So being able to, ask the right questions, get the right support. And so I'm seeing more and more every day things we can do to help all these different personalities of people. And that's why I love what Leela and Megan did. They took the audience and helped categorize different ways that people think, right? And I won't go all into it, but it helped them to see that there's some alignment of people who think and approach things differently.
Absolutely.
And when you're really wanting to go to another level, a higher level, first you got to make a decision to invest in yourself. And then secondly, you have to make a decision to do the work. And then when you do the work, you got to now move from learning to mastery. And some people learn, but they didn't get mastery because they didn't keep asking questions.
Right.
They didn't ask the right questions, or they didn't do everything they could to implement what was told them. So, but I celebrate every day that there's still people jumping on that journey and jumping in. And I wish I could control everyone's outcome. But the reality is we can provide the vehicle, but you got to get in and drive it. And how far you can go, it depends on how much gas is in your tank.
Okay. Well, all right then. We got to get some gas in our tank.
Yes.
So I think that was powerful and well said. So maybe we can jump into day 3.
Yeah, let's close it out.
All right, let's close it out with day 3. So day 3, we went into wealth strategies. We really went into wealth strategies really deep. And so you came right in on day 3 and you talked about inconvenient truths about wealth. And you just left some powerful insights and even addressed some things that will help people avoid the common pitfalls, because there's some common pitfalls that we just don't know about. And I thought that was phenomenal. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that first before I go into.
Well, I'll just say that wealth strategies is so important because people think about wealth as like a pot of money. But when you say wealth strategies, it makes you see that the pot of money is coming from the strategy. So what we have to do is learn the strategies that the wealthy use. And I wanted to start off talking about the inconvenient truth about wealth, because there's some things that we believe about money and about wealth that aren't true. And there's some things that we tend to think, and it's not our fault. It's because of the system that we've been reared in, that started through the school system and as well as our family structures, that we just didn't get the proper information. So I spent a lot of time, going into some inconvenient truths that can deliver you and open your mind so that the rest of that day that they could hear some of these strategies. And so that was the goal.
Wow, that was powerful. And I think the goal was definitely accomplished. So after you set that foundation, we heard from another leader in your team, Gina Wright.
Yes.
She talked about wealth structure, strategy, and strength, and really helping people to see how they're able to create the best opportunity and actually have wealth, really have it. After that, we heard from another one of your leaders, executive leader Darrell Brown. He talked about taxes from the eyes of the wealthy. And I know this is a hot topic, especially we're going into a new year. But really the difference between how everyday people see taxes versus how the wealthy see it. There is there is a difference.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we just don't know that truth. And so from there, we heard from Sean Wilson. He came in and he talked about stock observers versus stock owners, and being able to see the difference between the two and how to really create wealth that will, again, lead towards personal freedom, because that's why we're here, is how do we get to freedom? And that was just before lunch. And again, we had an amazing lunch, a VIP luncheon as well. Maybe you want to talk a little bit about why that tone was set for the beginning of day 3?
Yeah, I just think really, having Gina come in and talk about structure and strategy is so important, because a lot of wealth is about how you structure things. And the wealthy, they structure things with how all their assets work together to create wealth, like a garden that is always growing on its own. So having that mentality, and there was no better person to speak about it than Gina. She's such a great influence on our team, and helping so many people as one of our senior wealth coaches. So I thought that was outstanding. And Darrell Brown, my CFO, corporate secretary, and a little bit of everything. Hearing him go into what he did about taxes was just phenomenal. I thought he did a great job, because he gave so many practical insights into the difference in how the wealthy think versus everyday people. And it's things that we all can embrace. We just need to be taught to think different and to see these things different with respect to taxes. So I just thought it was eye-opening what he shared and the way he delivered it. And then Sean Wilson on stock. And, I love that, getting people to see that we have to think differently about what stock allows us to do. If you want to get into that arena, to not just be a consumer thinker, right? Where you only think about buying everything from these companies instead of taking a piece of those companies and letting them also pay you back, right? So I just thought he was outstanding as well. So it was a power-packed day before lunch, yes.
It absolutely was. And I love, there was so much that they shared. Again, things that you can do right away. But if not, it's just your mind shifting to what is actually possible. Because to your point, a lot of things we just don't know. You're not taught in school. And, you'd have to find someone who'd be willing to share this type of knowledge and wisdom through experience and through relationships that they shared. And so I always love hearing them, because it's like, wow, you just don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And so to hear them talk, I agree, it was incredible. And so standing ovations in the room. And then we went to lunch after that. Again, you had an awesome, there was lunch here catered here, but you also had a wonderful VIP executive luncheon. That was, again, the green room was phenomenal. And the speakers were there, yourself and others. And so we also heard from Zach Garcia, who is another leader and coach here for the wealth. He talked about wealth revealed from limits to leverage. He had everyone in here saying, I won't say the word because I don't want to spill the tea. But he had them engaged. I'll say that. I don't want to share the details. But he was absolutely incredible. Has a great story of what he's been through. And then we heard from Sean Moore. Sean Moore, he talked about a life that feels like a vacation, just from investing in vacation homes. And he shared some personal insights and some personal things just about, and again, about his story and current things that are happening, but really going into how to set yourself up to experience or actually do some of the things that he's doing. And it was absolutely incredible. And from there, you came back to stage and you brought Gina right with you. And you all went into an awesome simulation using your proprietary app, Wealth CEO, and did a live demo that everyone was floored by. And so that was incredible. And then from there, you came back, you closed it out. You talked about from event to transformation. And I think those words alone are so powerful. You provided, and I don't know if you want to maybe share this part, but everyone left with a plan. And I think that's something that I really love about this event. You left with a plan. Yeah, you heard from all these incredible speakers, phenomenal. They shared a wealth of information. but you actually helped people put a plan together. Because you care. You want to make sure they have a plan moving forward. So maybe talk a little bit about the closing of day 3 and why you structured it that way.
Yeah. Well, I just thought, again, everyone did just outstanding. And Zach Garcia, someone on our team is one of our real estate professionals and wealth coaches. He's a young man that has grown a lot because of being in this environment and watching him just really make the right decisions and be blessed for it. And now he's become a force to be reckoned with.
Yes, he is.
In terms of his poise, his ability to convey information. And I just thought he did great. And the story he shared was so impactful. And when you find out what he's been through and how he almost lost his life. And so it was very impactful. And then to hear Sean Moore, who's become a wonderful business partner and friend. I just love his values, his integrity, what he stands for. There's a founder of Odyssey, and to hear him come and share the things he shared with this audience was just so powerful, because he gave some insights into things of what's going on in the industry and why some things aren't working and what is working, and really, kind of pulled the curtain back on some things. And so I just thought that what he did was just, beyond gracious for him to share those things that he didn't have to share. And then, of course, me and Gina talking about Wealth CO. We've been working on this project for so long. I think I dream about Wealth CO sometimes, but this is an application that's going to really change everything we know about wealth. This is one of those things that once you really understand how it works, you're going to remember the time when things shifted and you started to understand what this thing can do. And so being able to just expose a little bit more detail about what is possible and kind of break it down, together with Gina was really fun. And then, as you said, just lastly, I didn't want to have this 3-day event and nobody leave here with anything of substance. I hate events where people get inspired, get goosebumps just to go home and do nothing. Nothing really changed. Nothing really made a difference. Nothing really makes anything that really moves the needle in your life. So I say we're not gonna leave here without. We're going to do it together. I'm making time in the event for you to make a plan. I'm going to show you how to do it. We're going to do it together. You're going to declare it, some of you, and we're going to leave here with a game plan over the next 90 days. And that's exactly what happened. And I'm so grateful to everyone who participated in that. And I'm hoping even everyone that will see this remembers what they did, what they wrote, and really takes the time to do it.
Absolutely, and I think they will. I mean, they got up, they shared, as you mentioned, some of the different ones, they declared it. I mean, I think even our team in the back, we were doing it too. We're like, oh, okay, we gotta, all right, get your, because we're not just here working here. We're trying to learn and apply these same things too.
Absolutely.
We're not where we need to be. We want to grow. We want to hear everything that every speaker has, because we want to also implement that, in our life too. And so I think people were, blown away that you did that, live in the event, and they actually had something tangible that they could walk away with. And again, back to just the level of care. You want people to move forward, and you often tell people, whether you, join your program or not, do something. Don't just stay in the same place you are today. Actually do something. And so I think that it just speaks to the person you are. It's like you really give 100+%, because you want people to really make changes. You want them to get to ultimate freedom. I mean, that you want them to get the results, and you want to help them get to that end game. So I just think it's awesome, that you've created an event like this. It's just amazing. It really is incredible.
No, I think I'm so happy that we had this event, and I just want to kind of close out by saying that as of time of us releasing this, I believe I still have an opportunity out there available for people who wanted to participate. Those who know. But I think as of tonight of us releasing this, that offer is going to be closing out. So people, who are really serious about, taking some action definitely take advantage of it.
Yeah.
It's not something I try to push and convince people to do, but if they're ready and they know they need it, we're going to deliver on our part.
Absolutely.
But what I found out is a lot of times it's not what we're offering, it's what the person is dealing with. It's the extent to which they really want to do what they say they want. And if you really want to do it, then you're going to try to do everything you can to do it right, right? And I think it's a hard decision of, do I really want to do this? I really want to go all the way. The other thing I want to say too is that if you're watching this episode, one thing I'm going to be doing, we're going to add something to the description here of this episode where if you want to get on the waiting list, because I'm going to do just a special where I'm going to release an opportunity to buy the replay of this event for a special price. And this is worth tens of thousands of dollars, but we're going to have a special price. So I think when I do release it, I'll probably have about a 72 hours you can buy for that special. But after that, it's going to be something that you could buy as a product that is going to cost more. So want to let people know about that. I'm also going to be working on doing an early release of our tickets to Ultimate Freedom Live 2026. So we already have the dates of what that's going to be. And this event is growing, and next year it's going to be even more powerful. It is going to cost more next year. We were going to do that this year, but we kind of gave everyone a break. But I am going to do special pricing for you being able to get a ticket if you buy right away versus that later in the year. It's going to start transitioning to the full price for what it's going to be for 2026. So just want to make those announcements while we're here and let people know that, because I know I just want everybody to take advantage of the opportunities that we're making available. So anyway, I thought this has been great. You kind of you took over the show here.
No.
I mean, you just led this whole show and talked about everything. So I want to thank you for all your questions and insights and everything that you gave. I think sometime I just need to let you come host the show, interview some people. Oh yeah, you can do it.
No, we want to see you and hear from you and all the other guests.
You can do it. And the thing about it is, I'm in a position that I can make you do it. That's what I love. Like, it could be on your job assignment that day. It can be. And there's not really much you can do. It's not. Right?
There's nothing I can do. I got to go with it.
You got to go with it. So just be prepared. No, but I thought you did a wonderful, wonderful job.
Thank you, sir.
I want to just close this out by saying, if any of you that listen to this, the things that Charlene and I talked about today are so important. This was an event, and yet it wasn't. It really was something that is a transformation. It's something that we want to embrace as something we do all the time, which is learning more, growing more, doing things that actually elevate who we are, right? And if we take the time to do that, we're going to go higher because we're intentionally striving to be higher. And so the time spent in this event transformed people, but I hope all of you will continue to look for opportunities to do the same. And if you didn't get a chance, take advantage of getting access to the replay. Make sure you're there next year. All of you that are out there considering taking action in any way, whether it's through some of my programs or someone else's, do something to elevate your life, because here at URCO, we believe we must charge, and we must expand, and we must overcome until we reach the ultimate freedom. Until next time, God bless. You are a